Do you love silly stories for kids? Why not consider joining our family? You can even get a very special message from one of your favourite silly stories for kids characters. Head over to the website to find out more. It's your support that helps us to continue to make exciting stories and more crazy content.
Did somebody say crazy?
Oh, Pim Pim, no. Pim Pim! One day, two little children named Jono and Heidi were very excited because today they were going on a holiday. They had just arrived at the airport and were pulling their bags out of their car and carrying them over to the place where you put your bags in so that they make it onto the plane. Heidi quickly carried hers across and popped it on the conveyor belt. "Come on, Jono," she said. "Hurry up." "I'm trying," said Jono, "but for some reason my bag just seems super heavy." "Come on, we're going to be late," said Heidi. Jono dragged his bag across and popped it up on the conveyor belt. "Whoa," said the lady at the counter. "That is a heavy bag." "Yeah," said Jono. "I'm not sure why." The bags went through and headed to the place where they get onto the plane, and Jono and Heidi walked across to the lounge. They sat down on their chairs, dreaming of the exciting holiday that they were about to go on. "Have you been on a plane before?" said Heidi. Only a couple times," said Jono. "It's always a little bit nervous, but it's okay." "Oh," said Heidi, "I always get a little bit nervous on planes. I hope nothing bad happens." "No," said Jono, "we'll be fine. There's no way anything bad will happen on this plane trip." Just then, over the PA system, they heard their flight.
"Now boarding flight FLOSS to Queensland."
"That's our flight," said Jono. "Yes," said Heidi. "Quick, let's go line up." They went and lined up to get onto the plane. The lady showed them where their seats were and they sat down and did up their seatbelts. "All right," said Jono. "Are you ready?" "I think I am," said Heidi. They held hands and waited for the plane to take off. The plane lifted off into the air, and Jono and Heidi sat in their seats and were excited as they looked out the window and watched the airport leave them behind. "We have now reached cruising altitude. Please feel free to take off your seatbelts." Jono and Heidi undid their seatbelts and were very excited. They talked about all the wonderful things that they were going to do when they got to Queensland. Then another voice came over the announcements.
Hello? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, could you please put your seatbelts back on because we are about to hit some turbulence.
"Turbulence?" said Jono. "I thought today was meant to be really clear." "Me too," said Heidi. "And why did the pilot's voice change?"
You better do it quickly because it's about to get very exciting, said the voice.
"Uh-oh," said Jono. "Better clip on our seatbelts." So Jono and Heidi clipped on their seatbelts and held onto their seats.
"Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go."
"What does he mean, let's go?" said Heidi. The plane all of a sudden jolted sideways to the left and then sideways to the right. "What is going on? This is not like normal turbulence," said Jono.
"Okay, ladies and gentlemen, who wants to see a trick?"
"A trick? What is this pilot doing?" said Jono.
"I am going to flip the plane upside down."
"What?" said Jono. "You can't do..." Wow! The plane did a big barrel roll. "He can do it," said Heidi. "Who is this crazy pilot?" "Hang on a second," said Jono. "I think I've heard that voice before." "Who is it?" said Heidi. "I think we better try and get to the cockpit and see." So Jono and Heidi undid their seatbelts.
"Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do the bumps."
"What does he mean, do the bumps?" "Hold on," said Jono. Jono and Heidi both grabbed onto the chair in front of them. Whoa, whoa, boom, boom, boom. The plane bounced up and down, up and down. "What is going on?" said Heidi. "I think we have a bit of a rogue pilot," said Jono. "Oh dear," said Heidi. "We need to get out of here. We need to stop him." So they kept working their way towards the front of the plane.
"Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for refreshments."
"Refreshments? What does he mean?" I think he means all the drinks are at the front of the plane. Maybe he's going to..." The plane pulled directly up into the air and all the drinks and food started falling out of the cupboards at the front of the plane. All the people were getting hit by biscuits and bottles of water and bonk. Ow! Ooh!
Ooh, hey, I got some biscuits, said a little boy as he started to munch on them. Poof! Ow! And a water bottle, he said.
Jono and Heidi were working as hard as they could to try and get towards the front of the plane. It was like rock climbing up a weird wall with crazy seats.
Okay, said the voice. We will now be heading back down. Okay, hold on, he said.
And the plane dipped and dove forward straight towards the ground. Wah! Screamed all the passengers as Jono and Heidi kept working their way from seat to seat, holding on, accidentally stepping on people as they went.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I'm gonna be sick, said a little boy. Uh-oh, said Jono. He reached into the pocket in front of the boy's seat and pulled out his sick bag. Hold on to this, he said. The little boy held on. Jono and Heidi kept moving. Then they heard the voice again.
Okay, it is time to do a big loop-de-loop.
Loop the loop, said Jono. The plane pulled up and went over and around and back through. As it did, the little boy accidentally let go of his vomit bag. Shoo! Poof! It splattered against the side of the plane. Oh, gross, said the man next to it. Jono and Heidi kept moving.
Okay, everybody, please make sure your seatbelts are still on because it is time for special upside-down flying,
said the voice. The plane tipped upside down and everybody was hanging from their seats. I think this is our chance, said Jono. Jono and Heidi ran along the roof all the way to the door where the pilot was behind. They walked in through the door and there, sitting in the pilot's seat, wearing a funny pilot's hat, was a fluffy, purple creature. Excuse me, said Jono. Are you Pim Pim?
Nobody called Pim Pim here,
said Pim Pim.
You should be in your seats with your seatbelts on.
No, they said. We need to be stopping you from doing naughty things.
Oh dear, said Pim Pim. Well, it is a little bit too late.
What do you mean it's too late, said Heidi.
I have accidentally done something very silly.
What have you done, said Heidi. He held up the steering wheel for the plane. Pim Pim, said Heidi.
How did you do that? Well, it was very exciting flying upside down and I accidentally pulled too hard and now we have no more steering wheel, said Pim Pim.
Where's the pilot, said Jono. Said the pilot from inside the cupboard behind them. Pim Pim, did you lock the pilot in the cupboard?
Well, he said I could not fly the plane and I said yes, I can fly the plane and so we swapped.
Were you in the cupboard?
Well, I started in someone's bag, but then I climbed.
Are you the reason my bag was so heavy? Said Jono.
Do you have the blue bag that says Jono on it?
I do, said Jono.
Well then, yes, this is all your fault.
It is not my fault, said Jono. It's your fault. You shouldn't have been in my bag.
Well, you shouldn't have left it open.
I was packing, said Jono.
Never mind, said Pim Pim. We have more important things to deal with.
Like how to get a plane back the right way up.
And also, we are about to reach our destination, so I don't think you can land a plane upside down, said Pim Pim.
Quick, said Jono. I think we can fix this. Jono grabbed the steering wheel from Pim Pim and popped it back into the part where it should be. He jammed it in. Okay, I wonder if this is going to work. He slowly turned the wheel, but nothing happened. Jono, said Heidi, there's some wires hanging out the bottom. Oh dear, said Jono. My friend Sam does electrical. Maybe, you join the colours, said Heidi. You do, said Jono. So they grabbed the wires and Jono slowly joined them one by one. Here's the pink one, said Heidi. And here, said Jono, and he twisted it together. And the green one, said Heidi, and they twisted it together until all the wires were joined. But how do we stop them from touching each other, said Jono.
Well, I have some bubble gum,
said Pim Pim. That will work, said Jono. So they all took some pieces of bubblegum and chewed it up and stuck it over each of the wires. Okay, said Jono, let's try. He slowly turned the wheel. Wow, said the people as the plane went back up the right way. Okay, so let's get this pilot out so that he can land the plane. They opened the door to the cupboard and the pilot was unconscious.
Uh-oh, said Pim Pim. I think he bumped his head.
He pointed to a big purple lump on the top of the pilot's head. What do we do now, said Jono. I don't know how to land a plane. Me either, said Heidi.
I do, said Pim Pim.
Pim Pim, can we trust you to land the plane?
Of course, I have never done anything naughty ever.
Pim Pim?
Well, I haven't done anything naughty in the last few seconds.
I don't think we have any other choice, said Jono. So Pim Pim sat back down in the pilot seat and popped his pilot hat back on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please put on your seatbelts as we come into land.
They started going down and down and down until they were about to land on the runway.
Actually, I'm not finished,
Said Pim Pim as he pulled the plane straight back up in the air. Pim Pim! Yelled Jono and Heidi as the plane went up into the air, did 2 barrel rolls, a loop-de-loop, and then came back down onto the runway.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for flying Pim Pim Airlines. I mean, not Pim Pim. Pim Pim was not here, but thank you for flying with me. Okay, see you later. Bye,
he said, and he jumped and dove out the window of the plane and raced off through the tarmac. Oh, said Jono and Heidi. Well, at least we've landed safely. They walked back out into the plane, and all the people were looking at them. Are you the ones that stopped that crazy pilot? They said. We are, said Jono and Heidi. Hooray! Cheered all the people. They were so excited to be back on the ground, although they were feeling very, very nauseous. Jono and Heidi slowly climbed off the plane and walked back into the airport. They went over to the place where you collect your luggage and pulled their bags off. They both opened up their bags to make sure there was no Pim Pim inside.
Zip,
said Heidi. No Pim Pim in here.
zip.
Hello, said a voice. Get out of my bag, said Jono.
Oh, said Pim Pim. Okay, he said, I'm going to go find a different plane to take over.
And he raced off back towards the plane.
See you later,
he said. Oh dear, said Jono. Oh dear, said Heidi. Well, at least we're on holiday, they said. And they went off out of the airport and headed to the beach. And that is the end of our story.
Hello! Today's episode has been brought to you by Pim Pim Airlines, the only airline that lets you fly upside down and inside out and back to front and all the other fun ways. None of that silly straight line flying planes and things because they are not as much fun. So make sure next time you need a plane ticket, you head over to sillystoriesforkids.com and make sure you leave a comment saying Pim Pim is your favorite character. Because if it is any other character, please don't leave the comment because then they will get all the praise. Because I want the praise because I am the Pim Pim. And make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of our stories. This has been me, Pim Pim.
And me, Sam. We'll see you next time.